Okay, so we want to be careful because it just says factor. So don't find the x's, just factor it. So when I see x cubed, that makes me think of the sum of cubes. So I think what times what is 64? 4. Make that a little bit bigger. What times what is 27x cubed? 3x. Okay? So now let me do this. First guy, last guy. Since this is plus, this is plus. Square the first one. Squared. Square the last one. Notice how I'm showing my work. 9x squared. Take these two, put them together. It means multiply. Plus 12x. Now the problem is it's not written in standard form. Something I could have done in the beginning. 3x plus 4. 9x squared plus 12x plus 16. Now, I could take this. I could take the question. And this is when I could, here's the truth. I could graph both of them. So one thing I could do is I could control G. Let me menu actions, delete all. There's two things I can do. Is I can graph, yes, I can go control G, and I can graph the first one, and then I can graph the second one, and then as long as one's on top of the other, I'm good to go. Or what I think you are more comfortable doing is taking it and just plugging it in. 64 plus 27x cubed equals parenthesis 3x. And I'm going to plug in my final answer, so in case I made a mistake. 9x squared plus 12x plus 4. It tells me, uh-oh, because what I forget to do, I forgot to store a value. 2, control var, x, up, 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 up. It's highlighted, enter, and uh-oh, false. Why is that false? Oh, because I plugged it in wrong. Okay, let's try plugging it in correctly. Plus 16. Okay, now we're good. Wait. All right, let me pause it and figure out what happened. So here's the problem with computers. It's telling me false, but then I want to show you what I did because I was trying to figure out what I did wrong and I couldn't figure it out. So what I did is I graphed the answer and I graphed the question. And if you look, you can see blue and right on top of pink. So if I went menu, zoom out, and I zoomed anywhere, whatever, right here, and you look, literally the graphs are right on top of each other. So I'm not sure exactly why the calculator didn't like that. Maybe I have to put something else in parentheses. Let me see. But this is the little downside of checking your answers when you're solving. Graphing is always going to be the best way. I don't know why it's not working. I don't know what I inputted wrong. But I know that I did it correctly because when I graphed it, one was on top of the other. Okay? So we want to be careful about checking. Graphing is the best way. All right, let's go to the next one. This is factor by grouping. So I can do my little box, which you can do. Now, see how this says plus minus, but this says minus plus? So I know I'm going to take out a -1, and then it changes that. There's my match. This is what's left. Now, can I keep going? Well, I can take the square root of 1. I can't take the square root of 2. And I am not setting it equal to 0, so I am finished. All right, simplify the polynomials below. So when I see it's to the 4th power, I know I'm doing Pascal. Some of you have memorized the 4th row of Pascal. That's awesome. So 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. If you feel like you don't have enough space, then you will get a piece of scratch paper and you will do it on a piece of scratch paper. Now, I'm going to take the 3x, and then I'm going to take the -1, so I'm going to go 3x, 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 -1, -1, -1, -1, -1. So this will be 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. This will be 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 4 plus 0, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Zeros are gone. 3x to the 4th. If you're not sure what it is, use a darn calculator. 81x to the 4th. 3 cubed is 27x cubed times 4 times negative 1. If you're not sure, go in your calculator. 4 times 27 times negative 1. So 27, 54, 108, x cubed. 3 squared is 9 times 6. Negative 1 squared is 1. So plus 54x, because I'm multiplying them together. 3x to the first is 3. Negative 1 cubed is negative 1 times 4 is negative 12x. Negative 1 to the fourth power is positive 1. Again, what I would do, because the calculator might be fidgety, is I would do this. I would go home. I would go to graph. I have graphs already there. Menu, actions, delete all. Am I sure? Of course I'm sure. Go Control G to graph it. Take the problem. 3. Only do this at the end of your test, by the way. Don't do this when you're not done. So you graph the first one, and it does something. Then you Control G to get back on the graph. If you want to practice this, come in. Come in during lunch and just practice using the calculator. Okay, minus 108. This is what I'm going to do on my test, my answer key, because I need to make sure that I don't make any silly mistakes. Because otherwise, I'm going to mess up all of your tests, and I don't want to do that. Minus 12x, and then plus 1. And now when I graph this, that red's got to be right on top of the blue. It's literally right on top, so I know that I'm good to go. All right, this one is a 3 by 3. So I'm going to set it up, pause it, fill in everything, put in a negative 1x squared plus 1x plus 1. I'm going to pause it, fill it all in, and then come back. So what I like about this problem, see how it goes 2, 1, nothing, 2, 1, nothing? There's a pattern. 4, 3, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 0. As long as I know how to multiply, I'm good to go. Take the first one, bring it down. These two are similar, plus 12x cubed. Negative 8 and negative 5 is negative 13, plus 7 is negative 6x squared. 8x minus 5x is plus 3x plus 8. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go back and I'm going to check it. So let me pause it, and then I'll show you. So what I did, just want to show you, I graphed the answer. That's what I got. If you can see, it matches up. And I graphed the question. And if you look, they're literally on top of each other. See how they're on top of each other? So I know that I'm good to go. Okay? Let's go to the next one. All right. Anytime I have a negative, change the signs of everything to the right. But that's plus, so it stays. Negative 6y to the fourth. Done. Let's see, I have a negative y thirds and negative 2y thirds. So that's 9 to the third, excuse me. So negative 3y to the third. Let's see, this seems a little messy to me, so I've got to focus it. Plus 5y squared minus 7y squared is negative 2y squared. And then I see a negative 3y. And then I see a plus 6 and a plus 4 is a plus 10. You know, when this is the actual answer key, I'm going to take the question, set it equal to the answer, probably graph them both and make sure I'm good to go. All right, this one says divide. So it doesn't tell me which method to do it. It will be bonus if you can do both methods. I will do synthetic right now. Negative 4, there is no x to the fourth. This is x to the third. There is no x squared. This is an x, and this is a 1. Bring it down. This times this, plus this. 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 This times this, 141.38, plus this. Okay, so I don't really have much space. So now I'm going to start going on to a piece of scratch paper. And I know if I had a x to the fifth, but I took out an x, I'm left with x to the fourth. So negative 4x to the fourth minus 8x cubed minus 15x squared minus 30x minus 69 minus 137 over x minus 2. And this is my answer. I would definitely take this, write it exactly how it is, graph it, and then graph that one, make sure they're on top of each other. I don't have to go over long division because as long as you get the same answer in long division, you're good to go. If you don't know how to do long division and all you have to know how to do is synthetic division, you'll get full credit. Okay, let's go to the next one. Now let's see, they gave you this, 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 and this, and they want you to create a function in standard form and in factored form. Okay, so since I see there are 1, 2, 3 zeros, these are my zeros, because it's like 3, 0. This is my y-intercept. So I know I should end up with some. Okay, so I have x minus 5, x minus 3, x plus 1. And that feels like that should be my function. Now, by the way, since this is f of x, this has got to be f of x. The problem, though, is that I have to make sure that when I plug in 0, I get negative 5. If I plug in 0 now, then I'd get 15. So I have to figure out what would have to go right in front to make that work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take negative 5, plug it in for my y, and I'm going to find that value that has to go right in front. 0 minus 5, 0 minus 3, 0 plus 1. So I have negative 5 times negative 3 times 1, which is 15a. So instead of writing a15, I'm going to write 15a equals negative 5. Then I divide by 15. A equals negative 1/3. So my function in factored form is f of x equals negative 1/3 parentheses x minus 5, x minus 3, x plus 1. This is my answer in factored form. Okay, so I did that one. Now I have to put it in standard form. There's a bunch of different ways to do this problem, but what I think is easiest is do this first. Then multiply by x minus x plus 1. You'll box this out. I was just boxing in my head. But this one, I'll show my work. X plus 1, x squared minus 8x plus 15, x cubed minus 8x squared plus 15x plus 1x squared minus 8x plus 15. Lift it up a little bit. So x cubed minus 7x squared plus 7x plus 15. But now what I have to do is multiply all of that by negative 1/3. So in standard form, my answer is f of x equals negative 1/3 x cubed. A negative times a negative is a positive. A negative times a positive is a negative. And a negative times a positive is a negative, but 15 divided by 3 is 5. This is definitely one where I would take this and I would just plain graph it, and then I would make sure that my zeros are 5, 3, and negative 1. So I'm going to pause and do that real quick. So what I did is I just took this and I put it into my calculator. So let me go Control G and I'll zoom it in a little bit so you can see. So let me go move it up to, press the up button to see that. Now if you look here, my zeros are negative 1, 3, and 5, and that's what I started with. The chance that that would happen and I would still be wrong is pretty slim, honestly. And so something I could do too, just to add things, is I can go to trace and I can go graph trace and it'll tell me my zeros. So if you look here, I'll move it to the left and it stops at my 0 at negative 1. I can go to the right. All things you can practice. Now, if you brought a calculator home, that's something you can practice too. Oops, I got a little carried away. I pressed it too many times. 3, 0. 5, 0. I can even double, triple, quadruple because it told me the y-intercept was negative 5. Sorry, it's kind of slow here. I should have just done that in the beginning. Sorry about that. All right. Hopefully it's going to go eventually. All right. Okay, so close. 0, negative 5. I don't know if you saw that. Okay. All right. So now let's go to the last problem. The last problem on the page says find the roots. Find the roots. I guess I'm giving you one problem that has a calculator. Let me pause it real quick. You're getting one question on the calculator. It's going to be, you can copy it, but also I'm hoping what you're going to do is just group, but you're still going to have to show your work, by the way. You can either do it by PQ or you can do it by factoring. I don't care. So x cubed, x minus 3. I'm trying to make it in time. X minus 3. So I get x cubed plus 4x, x minus 3. So one of my roots is 3. Then from this one, I take out an x. I'm left with x squared plus 4. This gives me another root of 0. This one, I set it equal to 0. Subtract 4, square root, plus or minus 2i. Okay? The time is about to go. So if you need more help, please ask. Let me zoom out so you can see it. You could also do this by PQ.